A Kentucky man is arrested after releasing a raccoon into a bar after being turned away. The Orgasmic Meditation Women's Wellness Company has been convicted of forced labor, and students in Nigeria are selling eggs and sperm to pay for college tuition. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded by a gentleman inside a closet. Here we go. A Kentucky man is arrested for unleashing a raccoon inside a bar. This Kentucky man is known by the locals as Cowboy Cody. Whoa, Cowboy Cody. Yeehaw. Cowboy Cody was taken into custody after he released a raccoon into a crowded bar on Friday evening. According to the authorities, 40-year-old Jonathan Mason of Murray, Kentucky, also known as Yeehaw, Cowboy Cody. He was arrested after police say he released a raccoon inside a bar, which actually resulted in one individual in the bar being bit by the raccoon. So that's not very pleasant. Last thing you expect, you're at a bar doing shots. Next thing you know, you get bit by a wild raccoon, and then you get the rabies, which requires more shots for the rabies. All right, back to the article. Let's get some more details about the ongoings and shenanigans of Cowboy Cody. Yeehaw! The Murray Police Department responded to a bar at 9:18 p.m. on Friday after receiving a report of a disturbance. The police found Cowboy Cody, yeehaw, driving, and they initiated a traffic stop. But the suspect allegedly refused to roll his window down or exit his vehicle, which prompted the police officers to forcibly remove Cowboy Cody. Yeehaw, Cowboy Cody, get out the car. During the subsequent investigation of Cowboy Cody Yeehaw, the authorities learned that he was previously at a bar where someone had been bitten by a raccoon that he unleashed inside the property. Now, you're probably curious, throwing a raccoon at an enemy? What is that exactly, Jonesy? Well, that's actually a redneck spell called Raccoon Missile. It's a level 8 Kentucky druid spell along the lines of Seduce a Relative, which is another popular Kentucky redneck spell. Now it says here, Cowboy Cody, yeehaw, has been arrested and charged with the following: assault, criminal trespassing, resisting arrest, failure of owner to maintain required insurance. I assume that's for the vehicle. Authorities learned also that Cowboy Cody had been previously warned not to enter the property. Well, gee, I can't understand why you wouldn't want Cowboy Cody, yeehaw, on your property. Seems like he's a walking party. Mary is a bartender at the bar. They're not naming this bar, by the way. Mary told the media that Cowboy Cody had apparently trapped a raccoon earlier in the day on his farm, and he had been carrying it around with him all day. Well, you carry a raccoon around with you, very odd. This is Kentucky, so maybe it was Cowboy Cody's lover. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions here. Here's a quote from Mary. I'm a bartender, so I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but I tell you, I've never seen anything crazy such as this. Mary, the bartender, knows Cowboy Cody, says that he lives alone on a farm in the area and has caused trouble at local bars in the past. She said he had already been drinking when he turned up at the bar that day and was banned due to a previous incident involving a mule. Oh, I'd love to know what that incident is. Tell me he didn't throw the mule into the bar. This guy just throws farm animals into your... Well, not that a raccoon is a farm animal, but he just likes to throw wildlife into bars when he's told to get out. Back to Mary, who's got some backstory on how this all went down that day regarding the raccoon. Mary says that Cowboy Cody always took a liking to her, so she was the one who attempted to convince him to leave the bar that day. And she was successful at it and got Cowboy Cody to exit the bar. But according to Mary, he returned to the bar moments later with the raccoon and threw it into the establishment. She says, quote, well, it was more scared than anything, the poor raccoon. Mary told the media that another employee attempted to apprehend the raccoon. Apprehend it? That seems like a strange verb to use in that moment. Attempted to catch the raccoon by grabbing its tail and was consequently bit by the raccoon, which required a rabies shot. Oh, now you got the employee that needs rabies shots. Those aren't cheap. Mary said she was able to corner the raccoon with a towel inside the bar, and she was thankfully able to return it outside where it fled into the forest. Mary says, quote, "I ain't no city slicker. I'm a Kentucky girl. I had no problem catching that raccoon." Oh, Mary, you badass. Yeah, Mary knows how to pour a whiskey sour and catch a raccoon. She's no city slicker. She's a Kentucky girl. Yee-haw, pew-pew. Now, there's another story about the legend of Cowboy Cody in the area. Apparently, in December, he had been arrested after he turned up at a bar called Tap 216, already drunk and riding a mule. It says Cowboy Cody entered the bar and allegedly began whipping a bullwhip at the patrons inside the bar. He was asked to leave, but he refused and was later arrested by responding officers after trying to flee the scene on the mule. Local legend. Cowboy Cody. When speaking to authorities, the local bar owner said that Cowboy Cody had rode the mule 15 miles into town to break him in, quote unquote, and that, quote, "In all the years she has known Cowboy Cody, she has witnessed poor treatment and abused looks of his horses." She also added that the more Cowboy Cody becomes intoxicated, the worse his treatment of his horses becomes. Animal control determined that Cowboy Cody's mule appeared to be around 100 pounds malnourished at that time, and he was taken into custody for that. Unbelievable. He was ordered to stay away from the mule and the bar at that time. The following day, however, authorities responded to, get this, reports of a drunk man riding a mule once again. Ta-da! It was Cowboy Cody. Yee-haw! Cowboy Cody was allegedly seen galloping down the road and tipping his hat to bystanders as he passed. He was arrested. He was eventually captured, they say. Taken into custody once again, charged with fleeing or evading police and cruelty to animals. There is a mugshot of Cowboy Cody, and I tell you, it's worth a gander. Is that what they say in Kentucky? A gander? I mean, he just looks so pleased about the outcome of his tomfoolery. That's a face that says, yeah, definitely going to do that again. Definitely going to up my game and throw a honey badger into a barcade. That's going to be good. Maybe I'll chuck a puma into a espresso bar. Chuck my mountain kitty at patrons. I love my mountain kitty. I'm going to ride my mountain kitty today. I'm going to ride my mountain kitty. Ride my mountain kitty. Cowboy Cody riding the mountain kitty. Yeehaw. Leaders of a Orgasmic meditation wellness company have been convicted of forced labor. The story's out of New York. The owners of a sex-focused women's wellness company that promoted orgasmic meditation have been recently convicted of federal forced labor charges. Whoa, orgasmic meditation, what is that? Well, there's many paths to enlightenment, clearly. So we have a jury on Monday that found the founder of One Taste Incorporated, a California-based company of forced labor, and she faces up to 20 years in prison. Prosecutors argued that her and another woman ran a years-long scheme that groomed adherents, many of them victims of sexual trauma, to, quote, do their bidding, as Skeletor would say. They claim that the leaders of this company used intimidation, sexual and psychological abuse, economic abuse, and indoctrination to force members into sexual acts that they found uncomfortable or repulsive, such as having sex with prospective investors or clients. What a shocker! Isn't this a surprise? A company that was selling sex services forced some of the employees to perform sex services against their will. It's called mindfulness, guys, in case you don't know. Prosecutors say One Taste leaders also didn't pay promised earnings to the members turned sex workers and even forced some of them to take out new credit cards to continue taking the company's courses. Yeah, well, that's not okay. You can't force them to take courses. Only Scientology gets away with that, all right? You're not big enough yet, One Taste. The assistant U.S. Attorney Nina, in her closing statement, said that the defendants built a business on the backs of victims who gave everything to them, including their money, their time, their bodies, their dignity, and ultimately their sanity. These ladies' defense team said that none of this is true, and that instead they created a ceiling-shattering feminist entrepreneurial organization, a unique business centered around women's sexuality and empowerment. Yeah, I mean, that's one form of women empowerment, I guess, when you force the women under you to perform sexual activities for money. It's called pimping. Pimping ain't easy, but it's necessary. So I'm chasing bitches like Tom chased Jerry. Their lawyers claim they are innocent of doing anything wrong. They're very disappointed in the verdict, they say. I don't know how lawyers sleep at night in general. Anyone know? It says here, One Taste was founded in San Francisco in 2004 as a sort of self-help commune. Oh no, commune. Watch out for that word. They viewed female orgasms as the key to sexual and psychological wellness and interpersonal connection. A centerpiece of their organization and psychological wellness program was Orgasmic meditation, also known as OM, which was carried out by men manually stimulating women in a group setting. Huh? Can you repeat that, Jonesy? Yeah, it says orgasmic meditation is carried out by men manually stimulating women in a group setting. I didn't know this was going on. And the women pay for it? Ladies, you could probably have this happen for free. You just put an ad on Craigslist. Just kidding. I don't recommend that at all. That's dangerous. Danger. That's danger time. Danger zone. That's when you're right into the danger zone. You don't want to do that. The business took off, it says. The company enjoyed glowing media coverage in the 2010s. I've never heard of this place. They opened locations from Los Angeles to London, orgasmic meditation locations where the ladies get a little by, I assume, paying customers? I still can't figure out, are the ladies paying for this service or the men are paying for this service? Or they're both paying. What a business model that is. You get both of them paying. The company was portrayed as a cutting-edge enterprise that prioritized women's sexual pleasure. It generated revenue by providing courses, coaching, orgasmic meditation events, and other sexual practices for a fee. Wow, who knew that you could rebrand pimping as a sex-positive activity? Okay. It's not sex trafficking because there's additional paperwork involved. All right. This is totally fine. It's totally fine. How do you even come up with this idea? I'm going to pay men to give women orgasms. I'm also going to charge the women as well so that they can get closer to God. So the surprising part is that people were like, yeah, thumbs up, and then they got good media coverage, and people were like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. We're empowering women. Meanwhile, women behind the scenes are like, I didn't want to do any of that. They made me. I tell you, so many people are just getting fleeced or straight up taken advantage of in very nefarious ways under the umbrella of new-aged wellness, and it's been going on for decades. It's very sad. I see it all the time. I see friends of mine get swooped up into this stuff, and next thing you know, they've given all their money over to some squirrely, quasi-cult leader. And, they just taking advantage of people's insecurities at the end of the day because everybody's, stressed and sad, and not we all, but many of us have a hole in our chest that needs to be filled. Usually we fill it with addictions or, escapades that involved getting attention. One could argue that as a stand-up comedian, I fill my hole by getting out there, getting on stage, and getting attention. And there's some credence to that, I'm sure. I haven't spoken to a therapist about this, but you know what? There's worse things than that. People I know have given their money away to Scientology. People I know have given their money away to gurus. Out here in California, there's tons of these places just sitting there, ready to take advantage of you, ready to take your money. People are so willing to just transfer their loyalty over to something or some other person, and then the cycle continues because they don't find solace in that thing that they paid for. Why? I'll tell you why. Because you have to look, until you look inward into yourself, you're not going to fix that. You're not going to find that. The answer isn't out there. No one else has the answer. You think these people know the answers to the universe, the answers to life? No, they do not. Okay? Nobody knows a damn thing. We're just a bunch of monkeys that made smartphones. All right? We don't have the answers. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you do have the answer. I don't think you do. Do you? Email me, funnyjones@gmail.com.
The Coca-Cola Company and its system of independent bottlers is an American story, contributing $59 billion to the American economy by sourcing many of its ingredients and packaging materials right here within the United States. It also supports 860,000 American jobs and invests $128 million in community empowerment programs across the country. Locally bottled, nationally loved. Learn more at coke.com/US Impact.
Students in Nigeria are selling their eggs and their sperm to pay for their college tuition. Ethical issues surrounding the fertility industry are on full display here in the country of Nigeria, where impoverished college students are selling their eggs and their sperm for cashola, often so they can afford to pay their college tuitions. Did you guys get all that? This is nothing new, actually. It's been happening in the U.S. for a long, long time. College tuition. I know people who have sold their sperm and eggs to pay rent, bro. Rent. All right? It's called staying alive. And it ain't easy. The Nigerian media reports that IVF centers have quietly been using college students to supply them with eggs and sperm. This is for couples wanting donor materials to create children via IVF, in vitro fertilization. Students are paid $50,000 Nigerian dollars. 50,000 Nigerian bucks. How many USD do you think that is? It's not very many. It's 31 USD. Depending on the facility they work with and the characteristics they have. $31 probably just for the sperm. The eggs, I assume you get more. They do in the U.S. You get like over $10,000 for an egg, I believe. Sperm gets you nothing. Sperm. There's just too much of it. It's everywhere. You can get it for free on the Facebook Marketplace, I think. We have someone who says, I'm concerned about the ethics of exploiting potentially vulnerable people. This practice here has been allowed to flourish due to poverty and a lack of regulations surrounding the fertility industry. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the fertility industry in Nigeria? I mean, it's probably got some loopholes, I mean, at the least. We have a doctor here named Bukumi Kolade. Do you like Bukumi Kolade? Getting caught in the rain. Okay, Bukumi Kolade spoke out against these practices. Even as someone who is an expert in IVF, she's an expert. She says, quote, as long as we have people who need eggs, we will have people who are commercial egg donors, but the young ladies should be made to understand the risks involved in what they are doing, and it should never be seen as a means of livelihood. Well, you know, you're in a poor country. This is going to happen. This is happening in the U.S. We're one of the wealthiest on paper. Let me just put the caveat in there. On paper, the U.S. is one of the wealthiest nations in the world, and you get people doing this because you have such a vast gap, a chasm, if I may. Chasm spelt with a C-H. Oh, yeah. Sometimes a C-H sounds like a K. I don't know why they just didn't use a K, but, you know, we're just having some fun with language. There's a chasm, such a chasm between the wealthy and the poor in my country that people, this is common. This is common. I tried to donate sperm in New York City back in 2005 when I was a struggling artist. I tell you, I was very much struggling. And they denied my sperm, as I probably said already on this podcast in the past, because of my height, my insufficient inches in height. I mean, we didn't even get into the allergy situation, but because I got allergies, I've heard they'll deny you for that. I've even heard they'll deny you if you have tattoos when you try and donate sperm or eggs. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I heard. Now, this article talks about the risks associated with donating eggs. They say they're downplayed, even as the fertility industry across the globe seeks out more women to serve as donors. In a published study of 155 egg donors, they found that 30% reported ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, also known as OHSS. Oh, that sounds like what they were giving those women during the orgasmic meditation as well. Hyperstimulation syndrome. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. They say here the unethical nature of egg and sperm donation extends beyond the effects of the donors as well. The children involved are stripped of their humanity and treated like consumer products. All right, I don't know about that. I mean, did the kids even know what's going on? I mean, the attempts at finding victims in the periphery of any sort of operation is just It's really out of control these days. Yes, the donors are the victims. Got it. That's enough for me. It's terrible. And of course, it's taking advantage of poor people, which is not really news. It's not really weird, right? This has been going on since forever. I mean, I sold a kidney to pay a speeding ticket. Speeding tickets are a lot out here in Los Angeles. I'm not sure if you've seen one. I'm joking, obviously. What did we learn today? That life is still not good in Nigeria. I mean, I found out it wasn't very good in Nigeria in like the 2010s when I was being frequently hit up by princes over there who were broke. I'm like, wow, if the princes are broke in Nigeria, sheesh, imagine the normal plebeians. And I sent the princes some cash. I felt bad. I was hoping they could turn it around. They told me they'd pay me back. That never happened. And if you are a poor prince in Nigeria, I mean, you could probably you go to the sperm bank and maybe you can turn your life around.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Hello, my friends and listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. My family of weirdos. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If not, just wait till tomorrow. We'll be doing another one, as I do. I'm just one guy in a closet, by the way. If you're new to the show, I'm one guy in a closet recording weird news, giving you the info, trying to make it funny, doing accents, singing, just kind of being ridiculous. Hopefully this is a distraction from what's going on in real life right now. It is for me. I live in Los Angeles, so this is nice. I feel safe in the closet. Please subscribe to the show. Did I already say that? Please subscribe to the show. If you'd like to send me an article that you think's appropriate, it's funnyjones@gmail.com or Instagram @funnyjones. I got a review to read, maybe a couple. This is on Amazon. The user's Amazon Junkie, which is an amazing username. I don't know how they got this. They gave me 5 stars and wrote understated dry humor. Here's the review. I am having a tough time right now with my sister in hospice. One day my car randomly played one of your podcasts, and I actually remember laughing, and I realized I hadn't actually laughed out loud in a pretty long time. My granddaughter and I have to drive 1 hour to Sarasota twice a week, and being that she is 15, we don't have too much in common anymore, sad to say. Usually it's a long drive with her staring at her phone. I told her about your Florida Friday episodes, as we both enjoy making fun of Florida, especially since so many of your stories are about Pinellas County. She agreed to listen, and she started laughing as well. The podcast is a bright spot during a sad time and has allowed me to have some fun time with my granddaughter. I mean, Amazon Junkie, I don't know who you are. You're obviously living in Florida. But this is just one of the most amazing reviews I've ever got. It's so great. I'm so happy. I'm pleasantly shocked to learn that my podcast is allowing you to connect with your granddaughter. I mean, I know it's not easy to connect with young people. I do stand-up comedy. This is how I get up in front of occasionally very young crowds, not as young as your granddaughter, but early 20s, I even struggle. Like, they're speaking a different language. And yes, they're on their phones. Even at the show, they're on their phones. I'm like, can you guys get off your phone? You're just paid to see a comedy show and you're on your phone. I don't get it. Anyways, I digress. My point is, like, it's hard to connect. So, man, I'm so pleased that you're able to connect through my podcast. Wow, I've never heard that before, but I think that's amazing. So thank you. I'm glad that I can bring some joy to both of your lives, especially during this hard time that you've gone through. That you're going through with your sister. I hope, prayers for your sister. I have another review here that I might have read this before. I don't know. It's from Chastity Mills. Did I read this review? It's like end of April. Howdy, Jonesy. I love your show. I listen to you at work. I work for a pharmacal company. Sometimes I will laugh so hard and so loud, people will come in and say, "Are you okay?" It just makes my day when things get stressed out. My favorite is the ER story about the rectums, man. The rectums. Man, that was priceless. I had to shut my door a couple times because you're so dang funny. Love you, man. Keep staying in the closet. Keep telling the stupidest stories. It is fantastic. You are the bomb. Love from Amarillo, Texas. Chastity. Amarillo, Texas. Wow. I don't even know where that is. It sounds like fun, though. Oh, I got another review from Donald Walker gave me 1 star. Said, used to be great. Oh, poor Donald's got sadness in his life. Used to be great. Not anymore. Donald wrote, this Amazon skill stopped working January 2025. I wonder why. Well, I got news for you. It is still working because people are still listening through Amazon and Alexa. So I don't know. I think Donnie's, good old Donnie here is having a hard time with technology. Anyways, I'll hope you come back someday, Donnie. Give it a try again. Do I really deserve 1 star, though? That's the question I always ask. 1 star? Really? 1 star? You really got to go there? You got to go there? You're just kind of a POS if you give someone 1 star for something that's completely free and that wasn't forced upon you. You know, I don't think that's a reasonable approach. You know, 2 stars, 3 stars. How about that? Not Donnie Walker, though. I wonder why. Donnie makes his family so happy, you can imagine. Well, them's the reviews. If you'd like to leave a review, you can do it on Amazon platforms, various other podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts and some others that I'm not even aware of. I'll read the review, good or bad, I'll read it. If you want to make it funny, thumbs up to that. Please don't swear. And if you want to sing in your review, I would love that. It's pretty cool. Put some song lyrics right in there, and then I'll sing them as I read them. If you want to support the show, I got a website, weirdafnews.com, although you probably had about enough of me. We'll see you tomorrow.